Okay, good evening. We're up to Ayin Amid Aleph. We're up to Ayin Amid Aleph, and it's it's interesting daf. It's a bunch of cases that Rava paskins, a bunch of cases that Rava gave a psak. And let's just look at Rashi for a second. Uh, Rashi, the one when it gets thin, about 5 lines down, it says, "V'yayim b'tachtoini b'Yisrael royis milmaila." Right? Kol shari dahacha, when it says shari over here, shari af b'shtia, it means it's mutter even to drink. So in every case that we're going to have, that it says it's mutter, it means it's mutter to drink, not just bahana. The haloi naga kamrinon, because it says you didn't touch it. If you didn't touch it, then you can go ahead and eat and eat it. The chol asa dahacha, when it says asa over here, it's af bahana. So when it says shari, it means afilu b'shtia. Asa means af bahana. Ubikulu hilchasa kirava. In every one of the cases that we're going to be exposed to, all of them mad is like rava. All of them is like rava. So all the psaks. I'm going to have like 9 cases, guys. Well, I say cases that actually transpired, right? Cases not that actually that actually happened, and in all the cases, the Allah is going to be like rava. Says that we're up to a few lines down. Hahu Besa, there was a few lines down. Hahu Besa, the have a Yosef Beich Chamra Yisrael. There was a house, and in the house there was a Chamra, there was wine of a Yid. Oil Oivde Kechavim, and Achtel Ledasha Ba'apei. A guy walked into the house and locked the door. V'have Bizal B'dasha, and there was a crack in the door, there was a peephole. Ishtakachavim Dechavim Dekoy Beni, and he found Beidani, he found a guy among the barrels of wine. So Amar Rava, Kol de lahade biza shari. Anything that it's possible when you look through the hole, you're able to see, that would be mutter, because the guy would be scared that someone would watch. However, the high gisa, but on the two sides of the hole that you cannot see through that hole, then asa, that would be asa. So shari over here would be mutter b'shtia, right? Shari over here would be mutter b'shtia, and asa over here means asa bahana. Okay, and again, the svara of all these things is mirsis, right? The svara of all these things, guys, is mirsis. That you always worry that a person is going to go ahead and he's scared that someone's going to go ahead and see what's going on, and therefore, since he has mirsis, he's scared. Then that's the permit. That's the things that permits it. Ahu chamra the Yisrael davi yosef bebeisa. So the wine was below, and the Yisrael lived above, and the guy lived below. Shamu kol tigra, they heard noise. There was a tigra, literally is a fight. Nafik, and they went kadim. They went out to see what's going on. Kadim masi the Ovi Kavim came back into the house, and after ladasha ba'pei, and he locked the door. Amarava chamashari. It's very funny. All these cases, you think the opposite. Right. It says Rava, the Kayach of Rava. It says Rava chamashari. Meima Amar, the guy says to himself, Kihechi the kodem asoy ana kodem basi Yisrael v'yaseh bel yoynu v'kachazili. In other words, just like I came back in the house, the Yisrael also came back in the house, and he's upstairs looking at me. And therefore, what? Therefore, it is mutter to go ahead and drink. Therefore, it's mutter to go ahead and drink. There was this inn, and there was a lot. The Chamer Yisrael was in the inn. They found the guy about sitting among the barrels. Amar Rava, in mitvas alav keganif, if this person that's among the barrels, he's going to be grabbed like a ganif. In other words, he has no right being there, and it's trespassing, and in other words, he has no rationale for being there. So you can chap him as what? As a ganif. You chap him as a ganif. Shari. A ganif has no. He thinks that if you look back at Samech Aleph Amid Beis, right? Samech Aleph Amid Beis. It says right before Hadron Alecha Rabbi Shmuel, 2 lines up. In Rashi, in Nitvaslav Kiganiv, It might be kechavim cholishu. V'yesh emas shayfte yerulav. He's scared of. He's scared. He's scared of the shayftim. V'im yamtzeuhu noigeya nitfes alav kiganif. And if he's going to go ahead and be found touching it, they're going to chap him as a ganif. Then cham reshari b'shtia. It's going to be mutawat b'shtia because again, he doesn't have time to go ahead. And he has no time to go ahead and do anything. So if this guy thinks he's going to be tavis zaganim, he's permitted. That's what we saw before. And if not, then it's asa filibana. Hahu beisa davi yasa bechamra. There was a house that had wine in it. They found the guy among the barrels. Amarava islay lishtamute chamra asa. If he has a rationale for being there, sham means to slip away from a claim. Then it's asa. V'iloi cham shari. So again, he's over there. If he has a rationale for being there, it's kind of like the inverse of what if typhus love kaganim. It's the opposite. He can go ahead and fataich. He can fataich why he's there. So he's not mirsis. He's like I can tell you why I'm here. Since he can tell you why he's there, then you don't have the concern that what he's a ganif. And therefore we're chayish. Let's see Rashi here. And said, this is why I'm here. He has a reason to explain his presence among the wine. So samichtas means that he's not worried about being touching the wine. And he's not scared. He went up there for the purpose of what? Of being menasech the wine. The savar, if they're going to find me there, ishtamitna, I'll go ahead and I'll have a time saying that, why he did it. The afagav the b'maga hayayin lesle lishtamute asa. The e lav l'nesuche oil lamalei the oil. Why do you go there at all? Now we had a case before where you're in a chanus. You find in a chanus. L'char you could be in the chanus. V'leidomi l'chanus. It's not similar to chanus. Guys, the guy's in the store. We had cases yesterday. The guy's in the store, right? And we said that it's mutter. We said it's mutter. He can rationale being in the store. After it's his store. Okay, so Rashi has the kasha. Yes, Rashi. The Hassam over there by the chanus, by the store, the kivin the b'shus aisle, since he's there b'shus, the yadinan l'may aisle, and we know why he's in there. Kol zman shlo yahidu shemaflig, the whole time, right? You don't tell him that you're leaving muta. The savar inogana hashta asi v'chazeli. Guys, in the case of the chanus, does the owner he knows you're in the chanus, he knows you're in the store. He knows that you know, right? And unless you inform him that you're going away, what's he scared about? You're going to come at any time. Over here, over here, no one knows he's there. No one knows he's there. He's not supposed to be there. So where does he get the security to go ahead and ask for the wine? Because he has an excuse for being there. So it's a difference between where you're there because you have a right to be there, but just like you have a right to be there, he has the concern that the owner knows he's there. Mashenka over here, no one knows he's there. He's found there. Oh, you found there? Shine, I have an excuse. I have an excuse of being here. Meisvei. We're going to ask on this din of Ishtamute. Ninal Apundik goes ahead and they lock the door to the inn, and the guy is miyachid with the wine. One case, so the inn is locked and the guy is behind closed doors with the wine. Or you tell the guy shomer, go outside and watch it. Go outside and watch it. The Yisrael tells the guy, you watch it outside. Asa, it's asa, right? Because we're chayish that he went ahead and he saimich das because you told him to watch it. That you're leaving. You told him to watch it. Why did you tell him to watch it? Because you're not going to be there. So if you're not going to be there, he has no mercy. He's not scared. Good. Now, Aser. My love afagav the lesle lishtamude. That he's an Aser even though he doesn't have an alibi, doesn't have an excuse. Like but this lishtamude. In other words, the Gemara you wanted to say if as an excuse to being there, it would explain his presence. No, it's speaking where the lesle lishtamude. Ahu Yisrael, another case. They were drinking together. Sham Yisrael called Saluye Bekinishta. They started to daven. In other words, he's having a drink with his friend, and suddenly get up to daven. He gets up. v'azal, and now so here's the question: would the guy go ahead and be menasech the wine when he's gone? Amar Rava, Chamr Shari. The Chamr is it's permitted to be drunk. Meima Omar, he says to himself, the guy says to himself, Hashta mitkar leil chamrei, right? Hashta mitkar leil chamrei, v'hadarasi. He's going to remember that he left the wine and he's going to come back for it. In other words, certainly when we were drinking together, I know he was makbid that what that to watch me, correct? Now he's leaving, I'm not around, but the fact that he's leaving, the mirsis is he's going to think that 1 second he went out, but he's going to come right back because he forgot his wine. And all these cases, the Allah is like Rava. All these cases, everyone. Ahu Yisrael, Voibikichavim, Davi Yosef Ba'arba. They were sitting in a boat, a raft, a small boat. Shama Yisrael Kol Shipurei Debe Shimsha. And they used to blow, Erev Shabbos, they would blow a siren. We have the siren, they had the shofar. And the shofar is announcing that Shabbos. On Shabbos, you're not supposed to be on a boat. If it's a dock, you're not supposed to be on the boat. So what was the guy doing? He was leaving the boat. And what was on the boat? Wine. Nafik v'azel. Amarava chameshari. Because the guy doesn't know he's coming back. Meima Amar, the guy says to himself, Hashna mitka laka lachamre v'hada ase. 1 second. How could he say he's coming back for the wine? He's not allowed back on his Shabbos. You got a Shabbos problem. And that's why they brought down this case. Nice, yeah. No, you have a Shabbos problem. So forget going back on the boat to get the wine. The guy should say, 1 second, he's not coming back. After all, he keeps Shabbos. V'imishim Shabbos, right? Ha'amar li asa giyura. Isser, the ger, told Rava the following: Ki avina be'armiyat Nisan. When I was a guy, Amrinon Yehudai le'mitri Shabbos. I said the Jews, they don't keep Shabbos. They don't keep Shabbos. The mitri Shabbat, because they did keep Shabbos. Kama kise kamishtache b'shuka. Guys, we're makbid to be home at a certain time. You have you know everything. We're makbid, right? We're makbid. I don't know any one of you, but I know a case of somebody who ended up in a situation where he had to hide his wallet, right? Because he was carrying, it was mamish got stuck. It was by my ofruf. A friend of mine had a flat, and we drove out, and I mistakenly left my brother there. My brother walked home on the belt. My ofruf, I left him on the belt. Anyway, so he hid his wallet. So he hid it. So the goyim times like this. How's it possible? You have people walking all the time. They have in their wallets their money. We never find any money in the streets. We never find any wallets in the street. It must be that what? They don't keep Shabbos.
Must be the
Jewish. So you don't keep anything. So therefore, this is the teretz. The guy thinks that what? He's going to come back on Shabbos because he doesn't keep Shabbos. So therefore, he's not going to touch the wine. It's right. It's like counterintuitive thinking. It's catch-22. Anyway, Taka, why don't they Taka find money in the street? And because the Svirulon kid Rabbi Yitzchak, we hold like Rabbi Yitzchak, I might see kiss b'Shabbos, malicha pachas pachas midal ramis. In other words, there's a heta, you can walk less than 4 ramis, okay. But they thought that Jews don't keep Shabbos, so therefore Mele is going to come back to the boat, and therefore it's shari, because he's going to come back for his wine.
He knew the halacha that a Jew can't be on a boat, though.
Right? He knew that he knew the halacha Jew can't be on a boat, but he also didn't know that the length of davening. How long it takes to daven. Guy is gargling Kabbalah Shabbos. Anyway, who are you? There was this lion. They have a noyim b'martzarta. It was roaring in the martzarta is the wine press. So in Eretz Yisrael or Bavel, they had lions. Eretz Yisrael used to have lions. Right? Shimshon killed a lion, right? It was in Eretz Yisrael, they had lions. What? David killed lions, right? Shama over the kechavim. And so a guy heard that the lion roared, and Tasha Beni Dvani, he hid among the wine, among the barrels. Amar Rava Chamashari. Meima Amar, Ki Hechi Ditashinan Ana, Itchanami Yisrael, Achurai. I'm not the only brave soul over here. He's just like I'm hiding. Someone else is going to hide here. Because Chazali, and he's behind me. He's going to see me. Hanu ganve the solki le pumpadisa. There was these ganovim. They went up to Pumpadisa. Upasra chavita tuva, and they opened up a bunch of barrels. So you have these ganovim in the town of Pumpadisa, and they opened up a bunch of barrels. Amarava chamashari, it's muta. My timer, ruba ganve Yisrael ninu. In Pumpadisa, the majority of the ganovim were Jews. Never, right? So therefore, you go after Rav, and therefore, okay. There was the same incident in Ardai. There were ganovim in Ardai, and they opened up barrels of wine. Not, and Shmuel said, not Rava, but Shmuel said the wine is shari. Kiman. Now, what's now, guys? Let's go through this. In Nardai, you didn't have the rave of Yidden. Right. So why would it be Asa? So why would it be muta? So the assumption is that now ganovim, they're not so right. They're going to touch it. They're going to go ahead and did I say anything? It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. We're just happy to have you. So now, so the Gemara is going to make a following assumption, fellas. Let me give you a little foreshadow. The Gemara is going to assume that it's asa because of mutta. It's because of mutta because it's a bias suffix. We learn out from Saita a very interesting halacha, fellas. Suffix tuma b'shus hayachid sveika is tame. Where did the shaila of the Saita take place? In Rishus Rabbim or Rishus Hayachid? Rishus Hayachid. And what's that suffix? Whether she did or she didn't. Tameya. So we learned out the Raisa, suffix tuma b'shus hayachid, sveikei tame. Good, sveikei tame. Now, that's a suffix if you did the actual action. What about a suffix if you were tame in the first place or not? It's in the winter they would plant the crop, so people would not walk in other people's fields during the winter because by walking on it, it's going to ruin the crop. So the fields in the winter had a dinner of Rishus Hayachid. Good. You had a field. One of the fields was Tameh, for sure. And if you walked into that field, you're for sure Tameh. The guy walks in the fields and he's mesupik whether he walked in that field. Is that suffix Tumah B'Rishus Hayachid Sveikei Tameh or not? No, it's not, because it's a suffix whether he was coming in the first place. It would be like the din in the Saita. It's a suffix if he was in the house in the first place. In other words, that case, Rabbi Eliezer is of the opinion that it's a suffix bia. Suffix whether you came in or not. Bia is lashon of coming, right? It's a suffix whether you came in or not. So therefore, over here, it's a suffix whether they came in or not. And therefore, the svara is Shmuel mated it because of the shita of Rebbe Eliezer that a suffix bia is tahar. Says the Gemara. So Amar Shmuel Chamashari Kiman ki Rebbe Eliezer. The Amar suffix bia tahar. That nan hanichnis lebika biyamos hagashamim. Someone comes into a bika b'mos hagashamim. Now b'mos hagashamim makes it a Rishus Hayachid, guys, because they went ahead and they planted in this place. V'tuma b'sad, they're ploinus, and there's tuma in a field, right? But he doesn't know if he went in that field or not. V'amar, halachi d'makam alaz, I went in a certain spot, ve'eni yodeya, and I don't know, im nichnasti lo'isei sada, im loy nichnasti. I don't know if I went into that field or not. I'm not sure. So now, it's not a din of suffix tumah b'rishus hayachid, because it's suffix tumah b'rishus hayachid is, I know I'm there, it's a suffix when I'm talking, right? It's suffix whether I did or not. Over here, it's a suffix whether I am tamei, whether I was in the situation in the first place. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, suffix bia tahar, suffix maga tamei. And the question is a suffix if the goy or Jew entered and was pesach the barrel. So if the suffix of it is a Jew or a goy, it's a suffix bia. That's what we held over to. Says Gemara Loi, that's not the reason. Shiny hasam, the dim by the field is because it's a svek sveka. Even the ikka, the paskli l'shum memayna, since the people who open up barrels, who Havile svek sveka. Rashi says svek sveka. Sufik Yisrael, sufik Ovid Kechavim. Guys, it's a suffix whether the person that went into the house was a yid or a guy. The imtim tzaloyma Ovid Kechavim, and if you can tell me it's a guy, sufik naga, sufik loy naga. Ubaha afilu rabbanan moida. The rabbanan who argue on Rebbe Eliezer will be moida. V'chi pligi rabbanan led Rebbe Eliezer hechi demal yisada tuma. Where vaday it's vaday tamei. The oil law, if he went into the field, it's not possible that he won't be mal and be tamei. The leka elachat safik. Okay, so over here, this is not similar. When he matted it, there's nothing to do with what with suffix of be a suffix. Because over here, the case over there, the reason he matted it because it's a svek sveka, so it's nothing to do with Rebbe Eliezer. Ahi Revisa. There was this young girl, a teenager, a young girl, a gaita, the shtakich dahavi beidani. They found her among the barrels, vahavis nakita ufka biyade, and she was holding foam in her hands. So the she has foam in her hands. It must be that what she skimmed off the wine, and it should be asa.
Is there an age limit? Small girl. So it does make a difference.
Teenagers, there were guys with zav on it. Teenagers, bashayma. Amarava, Amrashari says the wine is mutter. Ema, why are we saying? Why does she have foam on her hands? Magba de chavisa shaklisa. The magba, that stuff that was on top of the barrel, she took. The Africa the leka su. You don't see anything more. Ema she took the whole thing. A tremendous head of Rava, that she took everything that was there. Okay, so that's the end of Rava's cases. Here's another case. Ahu Pil Musa. There was Pil Musa. Rashi says, Rosh Hagayis, Sar Tzava. This is a general. The Solok Lanadoi, the head army came to Nadoi. Pasru Chavita Tuva. They opened up many barrels. Kiyasa Rav Dimi came and said, Omar Uvda Havi Kamei Reb Elazar. In Eretz Yisrael, there was a master of Reb Elazar. V'shari, and he matted it. He matted, the Pumas came to the city, opened up a bunch of barrels, and he matted it. The lawyer Dana, I don't know. Imishum de Savala Kereb Eliezer, the Omar Sufik Bia Tahar. It's a Sufik Bia whether he came in or not. Imishum de Saba Ruba de Osli Bahadi Pulmusi Yisrael Ninu, or the majority of them were Jews. If the majority of them were Jews, they opened it up, so they're not going to. Or then no, it's a Sufik whether it was Jew or not, and even if it was, whether they touched it or not. Ihachi, if you're telling me, guys, that the Ein Kan Roiv Yisraelim, it's a Sufik is whether Jew or not. That means it's not Roiv Yisraelim. Good. Have a suffix bia, then it's only one suffix. If you have a roiv yisrael is one thing. Now l'chayra it should be a suffix bia, which is right. No, it's not a suffix bia. It's suffix magahu. It's not a suffix bia. It's a suffix maga. If you know that if you're not sure it's a Jew, I have to take into account it was a guy, and if it was a guy, maybe he touched it, and the suffix whether he did or not. So it's going to keep in the miftachi tuva ema adaite de moina paschu. If they would want to be Menasech wine, they wouldn't open up so many barrels. Guys, they want to be Menasech wine. You open up one barrel, Menasech the wine. Why do you have to be Menasech every one? Ella, you know why they're opening the barrels? Because they're checking for money. If they're checking for money, they don't have time to be Menasech, and therefore that's why it's like it's a Safik Bia, and therefore it was Mutta. Ahi Misuvisa, there was a Misuvisa. Everyone knows what that is, right? I don't have to tell you because I forgot it's a Mecheres Yayin. So she's a wine merchant. So Hahin Musavisa, this is wine merchant. The Masrula Iklida, she was Jewish, and she gave over the keys to the Geschäft to a Gaita. So can you, is the wine mutta? Amr Yitzchak Amr Velasa, Uv the Havi be Midrasha, V'yamru, Le Masrula El Shmiras Mafteach Bovad. She didn't give her the keys to watch the store. She gave her this keys to watch the keys, and therefore the wine is mutter. Omar Abaye says Abaye Afananami Tanina, the same case. Hamoisim Mapteches la'amaretz. Someone gives over the Mapteches to the amaretz. Taroisav Tarois. The fish le'maslay el shmiras Mapteach b'vad. Hashta Taroisav Tarois. Right now, Tyrus, which is more severe than Yayin Esach, is Tahar. Yayin Esach miboy. And so it's mashma from here that l'chayra, it's the tyrus is more severe than what? Than yayin esech. You're telling me if you give it the keys for Tyrus, it's tar. I'll certainly then it's the keys for yayin nesach. Yayin's good. In the idmar, chatzar shechalka b'mesipas, a chatzar that was divided by a small wall, and this chatzar would belong to a guy and belong to a yid. So they took a small wall, and the yid was on one side, and the guy was on the other side. Amarav Tyroisav Tameos. Right, the Tyrus are on one side, and it's Tameya. That's by an Amaretz, guys. Ubayvit Kechavim, if it's a guy on the other side, Ein Oisa Yayin Nesach. So it's fascinating. Rav says, you see that regarding Tyrus, we're more machmir. By Tyrus, we're going to say it's Tamei. By Yayin Nesach, Yayin won't say, right? So you see that what Tyrus is more chama than Yayin. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Af Tyroisav Tahiros. Rabbi Yochanan says, even the Tyrus are Tahar. So you have a raya that was more chomer Tyrus than what? From Rav. You have a raya. Rav said the Tyrus are Tamei, but the Yayin Nesach is Tahar. Mesivei, you have two chatzerim, one within another, and the chaver is on the inside one. So the guy doesn't go to him. The guy does not go inside, but he goes outside. So Mesivei, hapinimius shel chaver, v'achitzonis shel amaretz. The panemius belongs to the chaver, and the chitzonis is the amaretz. Oisa chaver sheteach sham peiros, umeniach sham kelim. Right? Even though it reaches there. Kasha l'Rav. Guys, I'm here. I'm over here, and the guy is over here. He can only go it that way. He can't go this way. Right? So therefore, I can stretch everything over here. My tyrus not worry about it. Rav said on the other hand, if a guy could reach it, you have to worry about it. And here we said you don't have to worry about it. The difference is one was a wall of a chutzah they both had rights in. The other one he had no right being there. Okay, but that's the kasha. So it says kasha l'Rav amalach Rav shiny hasam shenitfes love kiganif. If he goes from he has no right being in the house, the inner guy's house. So if he's going to show up there, he's going to be typhus as a ganif. So we don't have to worry about why are you coming into my area. It makes no sense. Okay, Toshma. Rav Shimon Gamliel Omer. Gago shel chaver l'mayla migago shel amoretz. The houses, they were not equal in height. The amoretz was lower, and the chaver was above. Oisa chaver sheteach sham peiris umeniach sham kelim ubevat shleitei yad shel amoretz magayis l'sham. Provided that the hand of the amoretz can't reach, but if the hands of the amoretz could reach, then it's tamei. It's a raya to Rav and a kash and Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, right, the tyrus are tar. Says Mar Kash Rabbi Yochanan, Amalach Rabbi Yochanan, Shiny Hasam, this Leilishtamute. He has an excuse to explain why his hand went there. Meima Amar, I'm Surei Kamematzra. Rashi brings two pshatim. Either one, he was measuring. He wants to make an extension, so he's measuring, and therefore he can explain his hand's presence on his gag, or he's stretching. He's just doing a little morning exercise. So that would explain. Mashain came where it's on two sides of the wall. There's no explanation. Toshma, Gago shel chaver bitzad Gago shel amoretz. They're on the same side. Oisa chaver shotach sham peiris umaniach sham kelim. V'afa b'shiyada shel amoretz magas l'sham. You could do it. Kash Rav who says you can't. Amalach Rav lavika Reb Shimon ben Gamliel dekoy kavasi. I hold like Reb Shimon Gamliel. Reb Shimon said that what? It's tamei. I'm not damik Reb Shimon Gamliel. I hold like Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. I'm going to